All right, everybody. Families demanding justice. Friday Night Live. I am Melissa Miramontes, representing my loved one, Ugo Kachua, who was murdered on May 30th, 2024, in the city of Ontario. He was murdered by an off-duty LAPD officer. We got Jimmy Lopez right here in the back. We got a beautiful portrait of Jimmy Lopez. Jimmy Lopez was murdered in the city of Hemet on July 4th, 2024. If you don't know our stories, please continue to follow Families Demanding Justice. We are here. We're here to represent our loved one all the way in the East Coast. She's going to be telling us her story, her journey, her mission, her justice for her loved one, her son, Antonio Casseem Armstrong. Let's get her to join the live. Joining us. I'm accepting y'all now. Are you with me? Yeah. Can we hit? For some reason, her live is not going through. There you go. It says unable to join. Let's try again, please. I'm going to send you an invite, Ma. If you could go ahead and accept it. There we go. There we go. Perfect.
Hey, Google, pause.
Okay. Let's get the live up a little bit. How you doing, Ma? You good? Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah. All right, perfect. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for joining me. I'm honored to be able to complete this interview with you. I appreciate you joining us.
You're welcome.
It's important that we go ahead and give a formal introduction. I'm going to go ahead and again introduce Families Demanding Justice. We are here to complete an interview for Antonio Casseem Armstrong. We have our mother here. Mama, can you go ahead and introduce yourself, and can you tell us about your loved one?
Hi, I'm Shernaleria Eccles. I'm mother of Antonio Casseem Armstrong, as well as Elijah Turner.
Perfect. Thank you. Thank you. So we're here. We are here to bring the truth today. I'm out here in California, and Antonio's mother is in New York. Antonio was murdered in New York, correct, Ma?
Yes.
Okay. So we have a couple of interview questions that we want to make sure we get Antonio's story put out there. For everybody who's joining us right now, we are here, Families Demanding Justice, prepared to represent Antonio Casseem Armstrong. Thank you for joining us. You're just joining the live. So most important, we really want to know who is Antonio? What was he like as a person? What would you like us to know about him?
Antonio was a bubbly, loving soul. He brought sunlight, brought happiness whenever he entered a room. That's who Antonio was. He was always that um, breath of fresh air that you needed when you were going through anything, a storm, or you just needed someone to talk to. He was always there for you. Um, I'm glad that I instilled God in his life and that he was able to carry that wherever he went, even though it upset him sometimes when people he met or came across didn't know who God was or what God could do. Um, my baby loved to party. He loved to party. He loved the girls. That's just who he was. He was a ladies' man, even from the age of 2 years old. That's just who he was. He had a huge heart, always wanting to help someone.
Perfect, perfect. You were smooth, huh? Smooth with the ladies.
Mm-hmm.
He was a very handsome young man. Handsome young man. God bless Antonio Casseem Armstrong. So also, I know that we're also want to bring the attention to your daughter. Can you kind of tell us about your daughter and kind of share her story on what happened, well, before we get into all the other details with Antonio. Can you kind of share us from the beginning, about your daughter? Give us some information about her because we definitely want to bring truth to her story as well.
Elijah Turner, my baby girl, Antonio's baby girl, is what he called her. That he was her first male figure in her life. Um, he played the role of being big brother slash father slash best friend. That's who he was. When mommy wasn't well, he took over. He would take her to the park. He would have her hanging out with him, even though he know mommy didn't like it because she was too young. Um, and I didn't want her to be a fresh pot. So Antonio had a big part in Nay's life from the age since she was born. He was always trying to help me out with her. I had difficulties after I had her. Um, and he was just there. He wasn't the perfect child. He was a big brother that loved his little sister and was making sure that nobody harmed her. That's the type of brother he was. That's the type of father figure he was for her. He also became her best friend, and they used to tag team mommy. Um, on Antonio's year anniversary, October 6, 2022, we were having a peaceful protest at the precinct in Harlem. Um, there was a organization we were with, We the People, in New York. They arrived late. Um, so why I was in front of the precinct expressing my heart to these police officers who were looking at me like I was crazy, she wanted to go meet them because at that time they had barricaded the block where no one could get in. Because we arrived earlier, we were already in. We were in front of the precinct, having this protest, and it was going well. Um, I think a little before we were leaving to go to his event to celebrate his life, um, the officers decided that they wanted to put their hands on my child, is what happened. Um, she was being consoled by We the People because they were on the other side of the barricade from where she was. So while she's holding on to the girl, hugging and consoling her, the officer, this
Yeah.
one right here, Mr. Almonte, decides that he wants to grab my child. And when I say grab, like literally pull her by her hood and grabbing her while she's being consoled. After that officer decides to pull on her, this one up here, Mr. Singh, decides to grab her on the other side. and literally like grab her out of um, the girl's hand. So she ends up swung across and she's screaming, "Get off of me, let me go, leave me alone."
Right.
And they continued to pull on her and tug her. And then there were two other officers, a white shirt, decided to intervene and grab on my child until she fell to the floor.
No respect. No respect.
So why,
Disrespectful.
yes, why I'm walking and seeing everything that's going on, I'm yelling at them and I'm screaming at them to take their hands off my child. You're not going to take another child of mine. My children were my miracle babies, and I will protect them every chance that I get.
Amen.
Um,
Amen.
so it came to a point where he said he didn't touch her. Okay, if you didn't touch her, why is she on the ground?
Right.
If you didn't touch her, why is she being tugged from one side to the other?
Right. Right. You have
Little
no reason to put
behold,
your hands on her. None.
little behold, there was bystanders walking past, video the whole thing. Not only were we videoing, but they were. And that's how we were able to fight for her. Because I had to take her. She said she was fine. We continued with our march. They refused to let us out of the barcade. I had my grandchildren with me in the stroller. They were blocking us in so we couldn't get out. Um, it was just a mess. But we still continue to go, finish marching. We got to the venue to celebrate Antonio's life. Um, as well as I think we raised funds that day for his plaque for his grave. But immediately after, I took her to the ER because she was still complaining that her ankle was hurting her, her back was hurting her. So we wanted to make sure she was good before we headed back to PA because I was living in Pennsylvania at the time. So I would commute to New York to fight for justice for both my children now, and is what I've been doing on my own. As far as fighting for justice for the both of them. Um, they find out she had a sprained ankle, so she had to be in a ACE bandage for 2 weeks with physical therapy. She also developed
Of course.
trauma and PTSD on top of it,
Yes.
as well as a mood disorder because no one understood what she went through as a 14-year-old after seeing the math of her brother.
Right. What happened to Antonio? Yes.
Yes. On top of this, these officers are at the 32nd precinct, but their badges, their whatever those things, their stripes that they wear say precinct 28. So why are you at the 32nd precinct?
Yes. So they were in a whole nother jurisdiction, basically, right?
Yeah.
And so there's documented reports, medical reports of what happened to your daughter that night, correct? And
Correct.
we definitely have records, reports, pictures, photos, proof, and definitely
And there's also
facts
video.
to what
Yeah.
happened to Antonio Casseem Armstrong. That's definitely so devastating and disturbing to hear. Like how you gonna put hands on a little girl like that, and then like not only that, but look at where you're at. You know, we have the right to protest. We have the right of freedom of speech. We have the right to be able to be angry and to be vocal about how we feel for our loved ones, right? And that's all your daughter was expressing that day. It's 1 year. Come on, 1 year emotions are going to be at its highest level, and for them to do that to her, a child, you know, it is just so degrading and so evil, plain evil. NYPD, you know, it's unspeakable what they did to Antonio. It's unspeakable to what they've done to your daughter. It's just on so many levels just makes you want to crawl out of your skin to know that this is what's happening in the world. This is what mothers like you are having to encounter, daughters and loved ones that are, grieving or just, involved in this fight. It's so hard to hear what you're going through, but I thank you for giving me that, and I definitely um want to share more of what happened to Antonio. I know it's going to be hard, Ma, but it's important that we get Antonio's story out there. It's important that everybody knows Antonio's 41 months is coming up on March 6th. We're going to be protesting out there in NY. Please look forward for that. But, most important, I do want to bring in Cindy as well because she did want to join us for the live. We have her as well. She's going to help us with the um, questions as well. She definitely has experience firsthand with police, knowing the police who actually have impacted her loved one. So I hope that we can get to really uncovering these names and how important it is to have these names. And we're going to jump a little bit of ahead, but we just received names of these officers who have actually been involved with Antonio's murder and the brutality of his sister, right?
Yeah.
You just received the
I
names of these
just,
officers?
I just received these officers' names a week ago, and I've been fighting almost 4 years for these officers' names to be released so they could be held accountable for killing my child. Um, it's heartfelt for me only because a week after his death, I filed a CCRB complaint against these officers. Then, at the time, we had no names to know who we were fighting for, who we were trying to contact. Um, so it was hurtful to find it online versus CCRB getting in contact with me.
Right.
Um, to see that this has been out there, who knows how long it's been there, who knows how long they made their decision to exonerate these freaking officers. So I'm very angry, emotional. It's I can't even explain how I'm feeling right now. It's just I feel like ripping their heads off. That's how I feel right now. To know that these officers told my child he was going to die that day, and, and then to get off. So I'm glad I have the attorney that I have, because if I would have had any other attorney that I had in the past, I think they would have just left it and nothing would have been done. Um, these officers, especially this Michael Canizo, I believe he is this white guy here.
We'll
That white guy
definitely post him later on. We'll
has,
put his picture up.
yes, he has three of the complaints that were filed were from him. And one of them was forced entry. He fired the gun, one of the guns. Um, Something else I can't remember exactly. The two with the question marks, those are the verbal ones that I really want, because they told my child that he was going to die that day.
Right.
And at this point, they have no right to tell my child when he's supposed to live, when he's supposed to die. That's not their choice. And I want them, because they had no right to play God with my child's life.
Yeah, we definitely want their names. Definitely.
And I'm sure there was more than five. The amount of bullets that was in that apartment, different sizes, um, as well as a blueprint of where my child would be in that apartment.
Yeah, that's wild.
Um, it's unspeakable. I can't even like speak on how I feel about that. Um, it's a lot of stuff that's running through my mind because the fact that this stupid complaint said that they went there, they had a bench warrant. So if you had a bench warrant, why the hell you need a SWAT team, dogs, drones to get into the apartment?
Right. Like they're
What's,
getting a big terrorist or something. Like they're coming in to get somebody that, like,
yeah,
what do you need all of that for if you're not coming in for some ill
exactly.
intentions? That's unnecessary.
You were
One
coming
person, come
if you
on.
were if you were coming to do arrest, there was no need for the amount of stuff that happened that day. None of that should have happened.
Right. Right. I mean, there's protocols that should be followed. You go and serve your search warrant, you arrest the person, and you get on your way, right? What gives them the right to go in there forcefully? You know, why do you have to go in there like that? I mean, come on, you're just wasting time. You're wasting tax dollars with all that force. It's unnecessary. And look at what happens because you like overreact. I don't know. You know, you're sick. That's all I gotta say is they're sick, sick,
Yeah,
sick people. For them, it doesn't make sense that night. What happened to your son that night? How do you say? How does that happen that somebody's told that you're gonna die that night? Who the X
yeah,
are they
yeah,
to be saying that? Are you the judge, the executor, and really to me, you just sound like the devil because that's some weird,
yes,
like uncalled for
yeah.
wild
8
things
o'clock in
to
the
say. You
morning.
can't do that.
Yeah,
And
eight
then
o'clock
look
in
at
the
what
morning.
happens.
Yeah, so 8 o'clock in the morning when you're thinking that you're gonna get up to start your day.
Right.
It's like
Breakfast,
it's like
whatever.
coming out the shower and this is what you enter into the last day of your life. I spoke to my child at 12 o'clock at 12 o'clock midnight before Wednesday hit. So
Okay.
for the fact that this happened the way it did is it's like it just pulled a piece out of my heart. That's how I feel right now.
Right, right, right. And so I don't really know how much detail you want to go into, but can you kind of tell us as much just information as you would like. You know, kind of tell us, what happened to Antonio, who's responsible for the murder of Antonio. Let's go back and um, if there's specific, you know, officers that are involved that we can mention, kind of give us a overview if you can, what happened to Antonio. So those who are just joining us, those who don't really know exactly what happened to Antonio, Ma, if you want to come and kind of walk us through a little bit what happened that night, how were you notified, uh, all those details, please.
Yeah. So I received a call that morning around 8:15 ish by a close friend that lives in New York, but she wasn't in New York at the time. She was in North Carolina. Someone called her to let her know that they heard gunshots in the building. Um, but it was mixed communication because they were saying that my son shot his girlfriend. So then she's like, hold on. So I'm freaking. I was like, how, what, when, where, so I'm asking all these questions because I said, I just spoke to him the day before
Right.
and thank her for, keeping him calm, keeping him relaxed. He's not getting in trouble. And now you're saying this. So then she's like, hold on, I got another phone call. So now it's another phone call at 8:35, and she's saying, no, it's not Lena. I think it's Antonio. He's not answering the phone, so we don't know for sure. And I I don't know, a lot was going on in my mind that morning because I was in the middle of um a video conference with my daughter's school, getting her 504 plan situated. So I had to end that call quickly to get back onto her and to call her back to figure out what the hell was going on, because I had to go to work at 10, which wasn't far from the house. So, I wasn't really worried about that. I know I send Antonio Bible scriptures 7 o'clock every morning, sometimes 6:30, 7 o'clock, and I usually get a thank you, mommy, or something. I didn't get anything.
Yeah.
So I was a little worried about that, because usually he says thank you or something, or like 9, 10 o'clock, he'll go, mommy, I was asleep, but thank you. I didn't get none of that.
Waiting for that response.
Yeah, so she calls back, or I called her back, and she said that it wasn't um his girlfriend, it was him, and they can't get him to answer the phone. And the girlfriend wasn't answering her phone either. So on my way to work, I get a voicemail from a detective saying that they're trying to get my son to come out, or some mess they said. And when I called back, I couldn't get anybody. They're giving me the runaround. Oh, this one got it, that one got it. Oh, he's in custody. So I'm like, he's in custody, but he's in custody for what? So I'm trying to figure out, what is he in custody for if you guys have him? What is he in custody for? And then he calls back 2 minutes later and said, oh, he's gone. So now I'm freaking out. I said, what the fuck you mean he gone? He's gone where? So no answers. Don't know what's going on. I immediately called my boss, because I was doing home care at the time, and told her that I need to leave like now, because something's going on with my child and I don't know what's going on.
Okay.
So my supervisor actually came to the job, picked me up to take me to my daughter's school, because I told my daughter is in school. Because now I have to tell her some bad news that I don't even know what the hell is going on, but know that her brother's no longer here. So by the time we got to the school, I had immediately on the way called the principal to have her come down, so it's not too much for her. She didn't believe me.
Mm.
She thought I was playing. And it's like, mommy, don't play like that.
Yeah.
That's nothing to play with. Mommy tell you guys all the time, don't play dead, because I'm not going to believe it if it's really happening.
Right.
So don't play like that. So she's looking at me, and she's seeing me crying, and I'm telling her, it's Antonio. Antonio's gone. And she's like, what? No, he's not. He said he told her that when she came home, she needed to call him so he can help her with her math homework.
Mm-hmm.
So if this person was trying to kill themselves, wanted to commit suicide, do you think that he will promise his sister that he's going to help her with her homework?
Right.
They tried to say that it was suicide. My son committed suicide. I said that's a damn lie, because that's not my child. My child would not commit suicide. He stopped his sister from committing suicide after being bullied in school. So I know damn well that he wouldn't take his life. Um, Long story short, his friend called me right after I got back to the house, because he was trying to find a way, because he was in Maryland, and Antonio was like a little brother to him. Whatever Antonio didn't know, he made sure Antonio knew. Antonio started calling me, asking me if everything's immaculate. And I was like, what? What do you mean is everything immaculate? So that's where they got that from, that everything immaculate, everything Gucci. These are the words that Antonio used to say all the time when he called.
Okay.
Um, so he calling me, because Antonio have everybody call me Mama Love. So
There you go.
everywhere I turn, it's Mama Love. Mama Love. Are you okay, Mama Love? Um, so he's asking me, he said he's trying to get a hold, nobody's answering. He sent somebody to go over there. They said that they blocked off the street. They wasn't letting nobody pass. But he was trying to get over to get me to New York. So it took me, I think maybe like 3 o'clock, he finally made it to Pennsylvania. With traffic and everything, we didn't get to New York until like 5:30, 6 o'clock that evening.
Mm-hmm.
Antonio's friends, where he died, that was packed. Where he used to hang out at the park on 144th and Lenox. They had balloons there. We found out that they left Antonio in that apartment until 2 o'clock that afternoon.
It's okay, Mama.
Yeah, take your time. We love you.
We love you, Mama Love. Take your time.
Even though at that time I didn't know exactly what happened to my child, the fact that you left his body in there from 8 o'clock that morning to 2 o'clock that afternoon is evil. Um, then when I got there, that's when I found out that um, they had blocked off 145th and 148th. The incident happened on 147th. So any buildings on both sides, they blocked off. They immediately evacuated 6 o'clock that morning. They tried to reiterate an Amber Alert that he had in June of that year for my granddaughter. They try to use that as the reason, one of the reasons that they went there, forceful. Um, that was one story. One story was he was holding a hostage. The other story was he was wanted for a shooting that happened a month ago before he was killed. So with so many stories, not enough answers. I called that detective that called me that he was trying to do all this power to keep Antonio safe. No answer. I went to the precinct that night because he told me once I arrived in New York to come to the precinct. I didn't know what was at stake, so I was like, okay, we're going to the precinct. I wanted to know where my child's body, because I've been calling all day looking for my child's body, and nobody knows where my child's body is. So if it was an incident, he should have been at somebody's hospital.
Right.
If there was a shooting, he should have been in somebody's hospital.
Right.
He was not. So then they say, oh, maybe he's at the precinct. I said, why the hell would he be at the precinct?
Why the
So
fuck don't they know?
I called and so that night it was just being with his family, being with his friends, because that's who his family was at the time, his friends that he was close to. I didn't know Antonio knew that many people, though. I finally got in touch with his girlfriend. She came down. She said they took their phones because I told her we've been calling all day trying to get them. And she said the police officers took their phones. They left her in the stairwell while everything was happening. She just said for a long time, she don't know how long. There is a video of her coming out of the building with the police officers going into the police car. Um, Probably like 12, 1 o'clock in the afternoon. They wouldn't allow her back into the building or into her apartment because they said they had to clean it. So we looked thinking that they were going to clean the apartment. No, they wanted to clean up their evidence.
Right. Tell the truth.
And the amount of bullet holes that was in that apartment when we finally got in there, it's terrible. The amount of blood that was in that apartment is terrible. And the fact that there was a pool of blood in the bedroom when you said you found him in the living room, face down, was a whole both face lie. Because in the bedroom closet, whatever he had on was in the blood. Footsteps all over the building, the apartment, the bedroom, and drag marks from the bedroom to the living room. So if you're cleaning up the apartment, what were you cleaning? There's holes. It looked like they went into another apartment to shoot through the apartment to the bedroom.
Mm-hmm.
The drone that
Okay.
came in the bedroom, there's glass coming inside the bedroom with blood splattered all over the windows, meaning that they flew that thing inside that apartment to shoot him.
Mm. Justice for Antonio Casseem Armstrong. Sorry, Ma.
My child was brutally murdered by Michael Caniso, Stephen Carabala, and I don't know the other officer's name. I'll post it later because next Thursday I'm not going to be shy about shouting out these officers' names
There you
because
go.
every last one of them gonna know who Antonio Casseem Armstrong's mother is, and I don't play games when it comes to my babies.
There you go.
You
Yes.
took my child's life and you held on, and up to now you're still trying to be exonerated. Not so.
Yeah.
It's not gonna happen.
No.
And I'm going to fight tooth and nail to make sure these assholes are behind bars, whatever it needs to be. Even if there need to be a riot to knock them all off, then that's what's going to happen, because they're not going to get away with murdering my child, lying about it, and walking free, doing the same shit over and over again. Because this Michael Canizo has 14 allegations from 2007. So I'm not going to be quiet about it.
No.
Even the autopsy report showed that my son's torso was beaten. He had force trauma to his head along with the gunshot wound to his head. So there's no way in hell that I'm going to stay quiet. There's no way in hell I'm going to allow these officers to walk around and be able to do it to someone else, because I'm sure they have already.
Yeah. 2007 night. How many reports? How many complaints?
14 allegations, 3 lawsuits, and 1 exoneration.
Yeah. A pig, a filthy, dirty, evil pig. Yeah, we're gonna make sure that you have all those officers' names, and we're gonna shout them out, and we're gonna make sure that their despicable behavior gets blasted, because if they can have the audacity and the nerve and the disrespect to take our loved ones, then they should be able to live with the repercussions, and have their name shared, so that everybody in the world knows
Yeah,
the type of killers that they are, and they can be aware of them.
yeah. They took somebody's child. They took somebody's father. They took a cousin. They took an
Brother,
uncle and a brother. And these babies now, all they have is pictures of their daddy. My grandson never even met his daddy. My granddaughter met him, but she was young.
right?
All she can remember is his voice. And, and that's not fair to them.
Nope.
They should be able to see their father, watch them grow. Um, it's
Yeah.
just, it's very hard for me because I'm a family oriented mother. Antonio and Nay were supposed to venture out and to go to Cancun, Mexico. That was our trip that we were supposed to go, God willing, this year, and it's not going to happen.
Yeah.
Um, and I can't even bring myself to go, but I'm trying to push past this and be strong for my daughter because now she needs me. Um, so it's basically me trying. It's like I'm reliving all over again. It's hard because a chunk of my heart is gone. Um, it's been a long, long journey for me because my son was taken at a there's no any time to take anyone out of this world, but at that time it was a very difficult time for me because I was going through um, a surgery before he died. So the fact of me having to try and get money to clothe and bury my child, I should not have to do that because he didn't die because he was sick.
No,
He didn't
they
die
killed him.
because he was out in the street and somebody killed him. He died in his apartment after waking up that morning to start his day by officers that chose that they were going to take his life. And that's who should be responsible for making sure that my child has a good burial, that my child
Yep.
has a gravestone.
Yes.
That's who should be paying for it, not me.
Right. They're
So the
responsible
fact that I
for
haven't raised
everything.
funds for this stuff that they did, it's it's gonna be it's a long road for me, and I'm prepared for this long road. It's just hard. You can say that you're prepared, but when the time comes, it's like a killer. It's just what it is.
It's definitely, something that, we want to bring to everyone's attention. What, what kind of support have you received? What kind of support do you need? Um, what does your justice look like? Kind of walk us through that. Help bring this to everybody's attention right now. What do you need, Mama Love?
I need my baby to have his gravestone. That's what I need, so I don't have to call the funeral home to put a flag so I know where my child is when I need to visit him. That's the main thing that I want is his plaque to be done so I can, if I want to, go and see him and talk to him. Um, I even want to donate a bench in New York for loved ones or friends that can't get to the cemetery to go and put flowers on that bench and, Antonio, know that it's Antonio, that they can come and sit and just talk. Um, Antonio was also known as KT, but that's his name, KT. He loved this name since he was 13 years old, writing his music. And my baby, every time he made a song, he's like, "Mommy, you like it?" I said, "Yeah, but I need it to be less vulgar." But I miss him. I just miss him terribly because
Of course.
mommy got a call every day. And I always told them, even when they got grown, that I need to know where they are at all times. Um, I said, even if you just say, "Mommy, I'm alive," I heard from you. You know, so it's just, yeah. I mean, I'm just fighting out here. I'm not only fighting for him. I'm fighting for other mothers, other brothers, sisters, cousins that have loved ones that are going through the same or similar um, situation. It's just, I don't know. It's that's mainly what I want, and that's mainly what I need.
Okay. Yeah, we're definitely gonna post the GoFundMe account, the account information to be able to support Antonio's mom. We are looking to get any resources, any help that you can. Share his GoFundMe, share the accounts, share his story. Let's bring some awareness so that we can bring some money together and really help bring Antonio's headstone to him, and that way we have him resting in peace, peacefully, as he's gone, and we could at least give him that. We definitely expect the New York police department to pay for this, but right now we don't have them. We don't have answers. They have not been held accountable, so we do not have the funding to go after them right now. So we are looking for the community support. Anything helps, even if it's $5, $1, $2, whatever you guys can do. Share the story, share Antonio's GoFundMe. Reach out to us if you're looking to help Antonio's mom. We definitely appreciate all the support that we can get.
I'm also
We're
seeking.
not going to let Antonio's name go in vain. We're not going to let them forget what they did to Antonio. We're not going to let him, go much longer if it's anything in our power that we can do to bring, his headstone. Definitely want, anybody who can help us, please share his story, reach out, support, help us fundraise, anything that we can do. East Coast is way different from New York, so anything that you guys can do out there to support Antonio's mom, we appreciate it in advance. Thank you.
We
So
also
I really want to go into a little bit, if it's okay with you. I want to talk about um, if we stay in our, like, what's law enforcement and local authorities, what are they doing, what's the status of Antonio's case right now, if you can share that with us. What
So
are
we're
your
now out of this discovery stage, and we're going into his case now. Um, we now have the officers' names, even though it's not all of them. We have some of them, so now they can put, instead of John Doe, they can now put these officers' names on the summons to start our case. The attorneys are it's a team that I'm working with, and they're very adamant on going out and to get these officers um, for what they've done. We're now waiting for body cam footage, as well as the arrest warrant. So they say they had. Um, and I want the 911 call. Since their so-called was a 911 call, that's what I want. I want to hear the
right
voice on there to say that my child was holding someone hostage.
right
I want all of that. I want
Yeah.
any paperwork that they have. That's what I want. Because you cannot tell me this is what you went into and this is what happened when evidence and everything is showing something different.
Right, you can't hide from that, and we're definitely going to expose that, and I'm glad that the lawyers are backing you up and have the same mission, because it's definitely important that
they're not just taking on a case just for the recognition, but they really are standing behind you, and they really believe that what happened to Antonio is unjustified. It's unjustly, it's evil, it was intentional, and they need to be held accountable, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
there's no way around it. You can't get away with that. And it takes a strong legal team to really believe in the case, to really believe in our loved ones. And I'm glad that you got your support right there. That's important. Um, do you feel right now, currently, that the legal system is working in your favor?
Yes.
Okay. Okay.
Yes, I wholeheartedly. And they're, as they said in the beginning, they can't promise that they're going to win, but they're going to be with me till the end.
There you go. There you
And
go.
that's what I need. I need someone to believe that they can try to see if what we can get out of this, what we can win, if we can win. Will it bring Antonio back? No, it won't bring him back, but accountability will be had. Um, I don't even think accountability be enough for me, um,
Of course not.
because they took a life. They took his life, and nothing can replace that. Um, no matter how much money, nothing can't replace my child. Nothing can
Yep.
bring me more memories with him. So
Yep.
money is not even, I mean, it'll be there for the kids, but there's nothing really that's going to appease me.
Um, No, there's nothing, and that's something that's important, and I'm glad that you're putting it out there because there's no money in the world that can take back what they've done to Antonio. There's no money in the world that's gonna make you turn the other way and accept this.
Mm-hmm.
Justice needs to be served. They need to be held accountable, and that comes with the territory. If you can pay somebody out, then you should be held accountable for justice. What are
Exactly.
you trying to pay anybody out for if you're not guilty of nothing? That
Mm-hmm.
shit does not make sense. 1 + 1 = 2. Like,
Mm-hmm.
there's no way around it. So save the money and hold your silly, sick officers accountable. NYPD. Specifically, what precinct was it, Ma?
32nd Precinct Manhattan Squad.
32nd Precinct Manhattan Squad, New York, needs to
Mm-hmm.
be held accountable for the murder of Antonio Casseem Armstrong. I'm not going to stop until I keep saying it. I want everybody to hear it multiple times. We're going to keep saying Antonio's name. We're going to keep his story alive. Just in case you're just joining us, we're talking about the murder of Antonio Casseem Armstrong. Can you tell us how long have you been fighting for justice? How long have you been fighting for answers for Antonio?
It's almost 41 months. I've been fighting
41 months.
for Antonio since the day he died, October 6th, 2021. And got the runaround. It's a shame that I had to curse everybody out to get what I want, to get the answers that I needed. The fact that my goodbyes to my child was a piece of paper
Mm,
shows who these people are. They have no concern for us at all. As long as the police is involved, the police supposed to be mighty. And it's now my job to make sure that the police are like a roach on the ground. And that's where I need to make them, they need to be that small.
mm,
Because the fact that you treated me the way you treated me when my child life was taken is absurd. And there's no sorries that's gonna help me. There's no sorries that's gonna heal my heart. Um, I didn't even get that, you know? So not even to get a sorry of what happened or my apologies that this happened to you and your family. None of that. I'm tired of the sorries. I'm tired of, oh, let's sit down. There's no sitting down. The sitting down was done October 7th. You gave me your ass to kiss, and that's all I needed to fight and continue fighting for my child. As far as these naysayers and the public that wants to have their own opinion, you cannot have an opinion until you know exactly what happened to my child. If you
Yes.
were not there, you should not have a say of what happened to my child.
And that's important. That's a really important topic to bring up, especially when it comes to Antonio. I know that they try to use suicide by cop. They try to use a warrant as an excuse to justify their means for even coming into contact with Antonio. The outcome is there. Antonio has been murdered, right? Um, how can you justify that behavior? How can you say that what happened to Antonio is justifiable? How can you put a false narrative out there and say that he did X, Y, and Z when in fact that doesn't even matter if he did X, Y, and Z. It does not matter. You do not murder somebody. You are not the judge. You are not the executioner. You should not have the authority to kill somebody for and in this manner, like how on multiple levels, there's no way around it. It's unjustifiable. There's no narrative that you can tell me, no fucking narrative, excuse me, no narrative that you can tell me that is going to justify what happened to Antonio Casseem Armstrong, that is
No.
going to justify what happened to our loved ones with who are in our group of families demanding justice. We have been through the most outrageous crimes that you can ever imagine hearing. And once everything is all settled, the graphics, the photos, the truth, everything is going to be put out there. And we are going to have the same story today, tomorrow, next year, next month, for the rest of our lives.
Yes.
Our story is not going to change. Their story, their narrative is going to change. It's going to flip and flop. And people are going to believe these sick ass narratives and say that it happened for this reason or whatever the case is.
Yes.
But we're here to tell you the truth, everybody. We're here
Yes.
to bring light that this is really happening in the world. This is really something that we are facing. Um, but I do want to bring in Cindy and kind of add Cindy to the conversation because I know that Cindy has worked very hard to find out who killed her loved one, right? What happened to her loved one and the names that she had to fight for on her own to receive. Like, how did that, kind of introduce yourself, Cindy, while we're here, but also kind of help Mama Love, if you can. What can she do with these names? Is there anything that we can do with these names that you can kind of help her with? And definitely introduce yourself if you can, please.
Of course. Uh, everyone, my name is Cindy Nunez. I am the sister of Francisco. He was kidnapped 5 days, tortured to death, and murdered by this county sheriff's department out here in Lancaster, California. This happened last March, so we're hitting. Oh, he was allegedly March 14th, about a block house. So we're hitting that 1 year mark. And my fight is it's been, like Melissa said, hard, and like in our families, we end up being advocates. Now we're advocates, right? Now we're here. We didn't choose to be we here. You and like I always like to say, nobody knows your loved one more than you. And we know how they move. We know what what they'll do. We know them so well that when we were put in this situation, something was off right away, and that's what we all have in common. We know something, right? It just didn't. Um, it didn't fit the story, right? So what you find in these um, by these cops, by killer cops, is the minute they commit the crime, they commit murder, they're so quick to take the narrative, right, and make their own narrative the way of what happened to their asses. So here we come as fast as no, that's not what happened. We know what went wrong. You know, they mess up much along the way, and it's a shame that left up to us to put the pieces together. And then, we get lawyers involved and things, but like I like to say, with families, it's so neat to be a part of and grow with it. Because at the end of the day, when the everybody goes say, what happens to us? What happens to Mama Love when everybody's gone? Out the lawyers clock out. He wants answers, and there's a long battle to go. So what I found, I mean, it was just for me with Francisco. It's going to hit a year. LASD never wanted information. First it was Francisco who, so and I ended up doing but so much for surveillance at night of that incident. And from there, I just said, you know what, I'm pulling names. What I was able to get, it was just a fight with detectives. In these situations, they used to cooperate because they want to help you. They're not there to help you. They're just letting you know they want to help you. They're not. So what happened, I learned is I just started fighting and documenting and just follow their chains of command, right? Follow chains of command. You're not gonna get answers. And I finally came across that, and I just put it together. Like somebody was there, who was there, station, a captain. Nobody wants to talk to you. When this happens, nobody wants to tell us what happened, right? They just want to say if they have a history, they have experiences with law enforcement prior. They try to just control this that's false. True. So what I was, I again managed to just fight with the detectives and trusted.
Hold on. Hold on. I'm sorry. Come closer because you're kind of breaking up a little bit.
Hear me now?
Sorry, love.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah,
Okay.
I think so.
So I demanded a meeting with detectives, right? And I guys have some type of footage. I need to see what the hell happened that night. And sure enough, me and my sister, we went to, the station. We saw that whatever we needed to see, something still wasn't right. So I just started memorizing names. So names, badge numbers, and I started creating a. So with that, when I started getting a badge number was the detective. The first badge number was detective because I asking once I met with detectives, right? And by law they are to give you so you start with that. So I was in cancel the contract, and then I started learning to do a PRA request here in California. I do understand the different states, but pretty much there's laws the public use in that kind of and who were the courts, so on and so forth. Start there, and pretty much you're able to have a killer cop name, run it, and you can request the records that a legal formality that gets assessed, and by law they record disciplinary previous what way they were, just on your loved one. Look into New York law, but see what information we could help you, Mama Love, with those. Since we already have a couple of those cops' name, let's see what New York can offer you as far as law, as public information. And then we're going to start dissecting. So you start going, and I started back a report. I got back one report, and it had deputy names on it. I responded to those. So I started pulling their names up, and I read them. I them, and I started submitting requests, getting back that they're two of these two cops that I got back, they're under criminal investigation. Go figure. So that's a red flag. So you
Right.
they're in trouble and they're under the microscope. So you're like, right? So with you, Mama, somebody that needs that, obviously, DM us this message, but there's ways that you kind of not going to tell the information to us because it's best interest. They're going to tell you your investigation. That's your excuse. But that you're looking into it and there's something going on. So that's like a little gray area to work with. So with Mama running those names, so we can see what the New York law as far as rights, and then start putting those names, send in some requests that information, you know, and then we can help her. So Melissa, maybe we can together with love, and then try to get those names, the state, and we break down the captain, break down any of the higher ups that are there, and just getting them because that's we're gonna have to dissect them one by one. You know what I mean, Mama Love? So we're gonna like paper bomb,
Yeah,
you know?
that's
Like
important.
in that,
Yeah, I feel like we definitely have the legal team that's doing their part, but it's also important that we have that information and put it out there to the public. Let them know. But the more facts that we have, because we already have the facts of Antonio's case, right? We already have those facts. It's more so adding up and adding that information to what their history was leading up to these events, right? You want to know because that's relevant information. And yeah, they're going to do everything in their power to keep that information from us, but it's important that we come together, expose the truth for our loved ones, and really support you um, as much as we can, right? It is definitely something I look forward to. So can you tell us, Ma, any events that you have upcoming? I know that you faithfully have a beautiful, beautiful protest vigil for Antonio the 6th of each month. Can you kind of tell us about the next event coming up? If there's any way that the community, anybody who's watching us, how they can support you in your fight for justice, what can we do as a group, as a community, for anybody that's listening, that's just finding out about Antonio's story, please let us know what we can do to support you.
Yes, on Thursday, March 6th, will be his next speak out in front of the precinct on 135th and 8th Avenue. Um, March is right now is not good for me because of my health reasons. So I will be doing another speak out over there. Hopefully, we'll get more people to listen and want to be a part of this event. Every 6th of the month, I do a new event. I used to do community events where, in honor of Antonio, I will celebrate Easter or something, but I don't know financially if I will be doing that this year. Well, the next couple of months, I don't know if I'm going to be doing that. I'm trying to get my health back up to par, as well as because it's the only way I'm going to continue to be able to fight for him and be his voice and my daughter's voice if I'm weak. So I need to be stronger health wise to do that. But at this point, any funds that can be donated, um, I will be updating his GoFundMe as soon as we finish this, as well as his Cash App, Justice for ACA 23. You can leave donations there.
Can somebody put it in the chat, please?
Justice, the number 4, uppercase A, uppercase C, uppercase A, 23 is the Cash App. His GoFundMe I will post. Like I said, as soon as we finish with this, any funds is acceptable at this point. Not only am I trying to get his plaque for traveling expenses for myself when Dare to Struggle is not able to help out. So yeah, that's all I can say right now. Justice for Antonio Casseem Armstrong.
Mom.
Justice for Elijah Naya Turner. We will be blasting these officers on Thursday, March 6th at 3 p.m. in Harlem. Yeah, that's it.
It's important. Thank you so much, Ma. Thank you so much, Mama. You're amazing. Justice for Antonio Casseem Armstrong, 32 Precinct Manhattan Squad. You're going to be held accountable. We are not going to let them forget what they did to Antonio, what they did to Antonio's sister. We need to bring this forth. We are going to support Antonio's mom. We are going to show up and show out. We're not going to let his name go in vain. Families Demanding Justice does stand behind all of the impacted families. We are trying to connect on many different levels. We're trying to build this network. We're trying to bring awareness so that nobody else's loved one ends up, murdered, killed, beat up for no reason, and left with no justice, with no answers, similar to our families. We have to fight day in and day out for our loved ones. We're not going to be silenced. Far too many families have been scared, intimidated, unable to really continue their fight. So we're here, standing in unity, standing for justice for our loved ones. We are going to definitely add some of the links that we've discussed, this evening for Antonio. Please, anybody, if you find it in your heart, please share the story. Please share the fundraiser information, whether it's the GoFundMe, the Cash App, Antonio's specific story. We need all the support, all the awareness that we can possibly have. Justice for Francisco Nunez. His anniversary is coming up on March 14th, right? We're definitely going to be in Lancaster that weekend to support the Nunez family, show Families Demanding Justice, and fight for our loved ones on International Stand Against Police Brutality Day, which is March 15th. We're Families Demanding Justice. We can only help those who reach out to us. We're here to stand with any family that wants to stand with us. We do not want to be swept under the rug. We do not want our loved ones to go in vain. So again, thank you so much, everybody, for tuning in with us. Mama Love, thank you so much for bringing Antonio's story to everybody on the live, from the West Coast to the East Coast and everybody in between. Families Demanding Justice, we're here, we're fighting for our loved ones, and we love you guys and appreciate any support that we can get. So thank you guys. Have a good night.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night.